New details about the Pulse Memorial. The design is now 60% complete. I was there tonight when the design firm unveiled the new elements.
The visitor pavilion was the focus of tonight's update on the Pulse Memorial.
Because we wanted to make sure that we're overtly expressing the notion of safety, comfort, and communion as well.
Designers with Borelli and Partners are bringing to life the conceptual design developed by the Pulse Memorial Advisory Committee.
This notion of reaching out much broader and wider than the Orlando community is something that we wanted to bring in the architecture and in the storytelling as well. So,
from the outside, rainbow arms wrap around the building, intended to invoke a sense of safety. The iconic Pulse sign is also front and center. The inside of the building is mainly black and white, with a timeline of what happened that night on one wall, a breakdown of the response on another, and the pictures of the 49 victims stretch across yet another wall. The designers also incorporated artifacts from the nightclub. They say pieces of the original building will also be scattered throughout the whole memorial. Details that got mixed reactions.
There are people that are happy with what is being done, and I'm one of them.
How does reusing crime scene materials respect the victims and survivors who bled and died in the restrooms and on the dance floor?
I know people are sentimental about chandeliers, about doors, and so on and so forth, but at the risk of agreeing with people I normally don't agree with, you're, using things that really were part of the problem and right now would not be part of the solution.
Committee member Nancy Rosado was also hoping more of a focus would be on the victims.
The images of the 49, for example, seem very small on such a big blank wall. That's inappropriate. If anything, that should be our focus, that it's about them.
At this point, you said you're 60% done, but you had some feedback from some of the committee members themselves. Are you still taking their suggestions and their concerns into consideration?
With the city, I think you'll see an evolution of some of the comments. They're subtle things, but you do listen to it, and it resonates. And I know some of the commentary is pointed, but as architects, you get a lot of criticism. Architects are known for being curators and conductors, and one of the first things you have to do is be willing to turn your back on masses to be able to conduct. But it doesn't mean you ignore.
When do we start talking about how much this is going to cost?
That process is ongoing. So we have incremental designs. We had an initial budget, and we're working towards that budget now.
Any numbers?
But us and the city are working through that right now.
When will you have a number?
It'll be before construction. It'll be part of the public solicitation and our contract going into the city.
And construction is still on track to start in September and be done by September of 2027.